All right. Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day in Monterey, um, and I hope you are safe and sound wherever you are, from wherever you're watching us today. Thank you for joining me, and I think we had some exciting past 24 hours. And with that, just let me jump right into the topics I want to share with you today. And of course, I have received quite a few questions, and I will try to address them with my statements. So, the day before Tuesday, we started issuing a few more enhancements to our COVID-19 restrictions that were imposed to us by the state as well as by the county of Monterey. On Tuesday, late afternoon, we issued an emergency order that requires wearing face coverings on wharf number one as well as on a section of Cannery Row. We basically felt compelled to enhance the face covering order for those areas because we cannot guarantee there that social distancing can be maintained or created. And we also added a new citation to that order, which basically makes it an administrative citation. And by doing so, changing it from the county's criminal infraction of $1,000, we changed it to an administrative citation of $100. And what that allows us to do is to use other resources than just the police to enforce face covering in our businesses, but also on the street on wharf number one, as well as on the street on Cannery Row. And the task has been handed over to several folks in the city of Monterey to be proactively out there and enforce wearing face coverings. That will be the code compliance officer, who will be out there 8 hours a day in the businesses, in the business districts, and his task is really to ensure that the patrons as well as the business employees are in compliance with this order, and especially also with the CDC guidelines. The reopening of restaurants, the reopening of retail stores, etc., are basically based on following the reopening guidelines. And I had a chance to consider a lot of those inputs that we have received over the past weeks from our residents as well as from visitors. And with that, I think when we are since we have implemented that, I think we will achieve higher, larger compliance with the businesses, but also with people visiting that. And how this will work is that our code compliance officer will go into the various businesses and observe how the employees and the customers are interacting with each other. And if you see a customer entering a business without face covering, and if the customer gets served in that business, for instance, the customer is buying ice cream or something like that, then we will cite the business $100, and we will cite also the customer $100 for violation of the face covering. The second incident will be fined at $150, and the third incident in that same business will be fined at $200. So there's also a sliding scale, and I really think that will help the businesses, those businesses that are maybe not 100% compliant, in understanding that there are financial consequences for them. The educational approach that we have used over the past weeks has been working, but it hasn't worked to the extent that I felt necessary to have in the city of Monterey. So the code compliance officer will be doing that. We also are contracting for code compliance with another entity, and this code compliance person will join our code compliance officer, and we will work through the weekend of the 4th and 5th July. And that also includes the evening hours, because it needs to be stated that, as you see on the news, that bars are um, a main source of spreading COVID-19. So we will also have on weekends enforcement at nighttime in some of our bars that are opened, and they have to comply with CDC guidelines as well. And if they do not comply, we will cite them, and we will also help them to understand the rules better. Last but not least, part of our code compliance team will be also the community services officers. These are the employees of the police department that you see on our streets, helping the police, and they will be um, helpful to also be outdoors talking to folks that are not wearing face masks, and they will be um, helping the enforcement of face coverings. I want to be very specific again, because I just got a chat question. On Wharf One and on Canary Row, our order supersedes the county order, which basically says in some areas the county order says walking and hiking is okay if you don't wear a mask. So we have specifically defined those areas on Wharf One and on Canary Row as an area where you have to wear mandatorily a mask, and you cannot really claim that you are just walking or hiking or jogging. Of course, as always, people who are having respiratory problems or other issues that prevents them from wearing a mask, they can, of course, explain that and claim that. And there is, of course, on the side of the city, no way of checking that. We take them at their word, and we will not cite folks that are claiming to do that. Now, keep in mind again, a crucial element of the enforcement will be inside our businesses, and if we can already enforce there more stricter, that will have spillover effects, of course, for the patrons as well. Rick Johnson is asking a question, uh, whether there could be a phone number for that. Look, yes, we will share a phone number that you can call. The challenge, though, is this is not a 911 system. Code compliance officers will not be going in and out, but if you know about a business, or you know about an area where people are really blatantly ignoring those guidelines, mainly businesses, please let us know, and we will ensure that we will go to that business as well. Um, the uh, the second order that we issued was yesterday uh, morning, where we basically announced that we will be closing the beaches for the 4th and the 5th of July. And those of us who have been living in the area for a long, long time know that the 4th of July is a signature event with or without fireworks. We are getting a lot of folks coming down to our beaches to enjoy the 4th of July. And for us, again, it was important to ensure that in the present time, we are doing everything possible to ensure that we have social distancing and that we are not enhancing the spread of COVID-19. And so, with that reason, we decided to close the beaches just for the 4th and 5th of July. And no parking signs, signage, fencing will go up prior to July 4th. And you will see no parking signs in the Del Monte Beach area when it is time to post those no parking signs. So this will happen probably sometime around Friday late afternoon, early evening, that we will post again in the Del Monte Beach neighborhood just for Saturday and Sunday the areas that we had previously posted as no parking when we had restricted beach access. We will post that during that time, and I hope that helps. Um, Again, it will be just during um, July 4th and July 5th. And again, violations will be cited at $100. But I also want to caution you that if you go down to the beach and you see folks on the beach on July 4th and 5th, it will be a massive challenge for enforcement. And the issue will be really for us to find the balance there and what we can enforce and what we cannot enforce. But by sending out the signal, closing the beaches was important for us also to tell our neighbors and tell especially also our visitors, stay away from the beaches. COVID-19 is alive and well, and we have to do something about this. The other question that I was asked, and I apologize, I want to quickly look here at my email that was asked earlier, is hang on, I'm sorry. Is it possible to close Alvarado and Canary Row Street so there can be more social distance? I told you we have done this on Canary Row with respect to the face covering as mandatory. There is no street closure planned for Canary Row. The countermeasure basically is to wear COVID-19 mandatorily mask. Then the other part is will masks be and Alvarado Street again. We don't see that there is a real challenge with crowd control. Again, we keep an open mind there, but we feel Alvarado Street is not the challenge as we see it on Canary Row and Wharf Number 1. On the rec trail, we will not enforce the mask wearing. People are allowed to walk and hike and not wear a mask. The challenge on the rec trail is, of course, again, if overcrowding occurs, then we might reconsider. But from what I've seen personally over the past weeks, people can maintain social distancing. Most of the folks are very respectful and stopping and giving other people the right of way in order to ensure the 6 feet distance. And I think I answered that we have quite a few folks out there to conduct code enforcement over the next couple of weeks. So with that, I wanted to let you know the things that we are doing is we changed the citation from $1,000 down to $100, and we have decided to close the beaches on July 4th and July 5th. I can share with you also that the neighboring agencies like Pacific Grove, like Carmel, plus Pebble Beach are really considering to follow suit. I cannot tell you if they want to do that yet. However, our move, of course, has been recognized by our neighboring councils and agencies as well, and they are considering similar moves. And why are we doing this? It's very clearly we are at a very critical juncture, and if you look at the data points that we have in the county, but particularly also that are coming from the community hospital of the Monterey Peninsula, you will see that the leadership at the community hospital of Monterey Peninsula also is becoming more and more concerns about saturation of the healthcare facility with incoming patients. And so we can all discuss the pros and cons of doing what we are doing, but the fact remains that sooner or later we may reach a point of saturation in our hospitals, and we don't want to get there. So whatever we can do to prevent that is very important. Uh, the 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 hospitals in Natividad and Salinas Valley also, Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital also have patient volumes in there. So I cannot tell you the exact numbers, but those indicators are all going slowly up. And so when you talk about the Monterey Peninsula, our local hospital has expressed also concerns about their hospital intake of patients. And with that, we cannot just say, hey, it's a problem for the Salinas area and the South County area. And if you, like me, are listening to what's going on in your neighborhood, it appears to me that the COVID-19 positive interactions are kind of creeping up. They are coming a little closer. That's kind of what I feel right now is happening also in our community. So I ask you all for your support for those two measures that we implemented. There's a lot of communication, of course, out there on social media. A lot of folks from outside of the area are also sharing with us their opinion. However, they do not live in this area, and our residents are our primary concern. And we need to do everything possible that we can do right now. Yesterday, the governor, I closed over 19 counties again in certain areas. And I tell you that our county is probably also on the watch list of the governor's team. And it's important for every one of us to be aware to do our share, because we don't want to get to a point again where we have again people becoming unemployed and kicked out of their employment, because a lot of folks have returned to work, and we need to do our best that we can work safely. And masks are working. Everybody is saying that that masks are working. So with that, I'm leaving that topic, and the next one that I wanted to talk about is about our city, other topics that are important for our city aside from COVID-19. The Sports Center has opened, as I shared this with you at the last discussion that we have. We have made from day one wearing face mask inside the Sports Center mandatory. And even when you work out, you should wear face mask. And I tell you that our customers have embraced that. There are a few folks that have expressed that they will not come to the Sports Center because they feel they need to exercise without the face mask on. Or if you again have health related issues, then please don't work out in Monterey Sports Center during the current times. You are absolutely welcome to work out with us, but face coverings are required. And if there are issues with the health, then please stay away from the Sports Center and work out at home or take a walk. We have adjusted the hours of the Sports Center to reflect maybe the wishes of our customers. So we are opening instead of 8 o'clock now at 6 a.m. It is a by appointment only system. And we will keep a good eye on the openings there and the frequency of visitors coming to us. And no more than 100 people will be in the Sports Center at any given time. And I can tell you from the data that we are seeing that more people than we expected are hesitant of coming back to the Sports Center. And that's a trend you can see also across the country, that a lot of folks are very careful right now, and they don't want to necessarily work out in gyms and sports centers. Having said that, we are open at 6 a.m., but we will make also a decision over the next couple of weeks whether it's really quote unquote worth to keep the sports center open, because as you know, We are operating that with a lot of staff, and we need to look also at the bottom line. What I share with you is the uh, um, swim gym will be not opening in the first week of July. We were considering that, but giving all the facts of the current numbers and the spiking, we will be looking at those trends in our county and our state and then make a decision. So, yes, our sports center is open. It was opened about 2 weeks ago. It is an absolutely clean operation, and even if you don't want to work out there, I encourage you just to see how you can operate a sports center in a safe manner when you require everyone to wear face mask, and also when you include cleaning standards there that ensure that every piece of equipment gets wiped down and thoroughly cleaned after each usage. So uh, I wanted to talk about the library. The library has created now a sidewalk pickup system in which people can order books online, and then our team is putting the library books together for you, and you can join us given at the appropriate appointment time, and you will be handed the books, and you do your own self checkout at that time. And the system has been very much embraced, and I'm very grateful to our library team to put that together. Books that are being returned are quarantined. Every single book that is being returned is being marked with a date when it was returned, and then it will be put into a quarantine area. And so before we return it, then again, you can be assured that the book itself also has been taken care of. Um, Kim Smith is telling me library don't need appointments. You do an online order, and then you need to contact the library to find out when you can pick up the books. And Kim, if I said something wrong, just shoot me a quick chat again to explain how we are doing the handing out the books. But the books, when they are ready to be picked up, we will share with you when you can pick up the books at what time, because again, we want to ensure that we don't have groups of people clustered at the same time trying to pick up books. Um, with that, I wanted to talk about the upcoming uh, council meeting, which will be on Tuesday next week. There will be two items that might be interesting for you. One, there might be every item might be of interest for you, but the item that is let me just go quickly back. Kim just told me how we're doing the library. So the library will send you an email and will tell you, or a letter, and it will tell you when the items are ready for pickup. And then you come anytime between 11 to 6, and then our library staff will hand you the book. So, Kim, thank you so much for explaining that. That was very helpful. So next week, Tuesday, two items that I think might be interesting. There will be a discussion, a change to the home occupancy permit. Right now, as you know, we have a pretty stringent process with respect to permitting home occupancy. And we want to change that to a more administrative review process. And when you hear about a home occupancy permit, please keep in mind these are folks that would like to operate out of their home a business that will have no impacts to the neighborhood. So if you are running a consulting business and you want to basically consult out of your home, that will not impact your neighborhood. Or if you run a web-based operation, again, that will not impact your neighborhood. However, if somebody wants to create a home occupancy permit to run out of their home a construction business with construction trucks being parked all over the street, that will not happen through our change to the regulations, because frankly, there is the little thing that is called zoning. and that will prevent someone from doing that. So what we are trying to do with that ordinance change to adjust our service levels quite a bit, which means that we want to streamline the process of permitting home occupancy permits. Again, we feel very confident as staff that we can sort out all those businesses that will really have an impact on the neighborhood from those businesses that are just operating out of studies or out of the living room or out of the kitchen. Again, there should be no visitors coming to that business. There should be no enhanced parking in front of the home. There should be no construction trucks. But that's one of those things that we try really to adjust our service levels also to a level that is sustainable, because as I shared with you a couple of times before, our service levels cost us a lot of dollars, and if we have a chance to adjust those, we should use that. So home occupancy is one of those topics, and I know that there have been comments made by some of the uh, neighborhood association, and of course the council will consider all those. So that will happen on Tuesday. And the other part that will be interesting is we will have a conversation with the council about the potential for a hotel tax increase. Staff, we are proposing a 2% hotel tax increase. Uh, the council can do anything with respect to the hotel tax, anything between saying we don't want a hotel tax increase to we want a 4, 5, 6% hotel tax increase. So it's totally up to the council where to go with that. Currently, our hotel tax in Monterey is at a 10% level. And as I explained before, there is an additional percentage charge to recover the cost for the conference center remodel. So it is not a clean cut 10%. For some hotels, or most of the hotels, it's almost 11%. For the full service hotels, it's a little over 12%. And for three hotels adjacent to the conference center, it's a little over 14%. So this will be an interesting discussion that the council has, but it's important for us to point out that the TOT is an additional revenue source. And as we are foreseeing that our financial situation will be pretty dire over the next 18 to 24 months, maybe even longer, we also hear from our friends in the community that they'd like us to restore a lot of those services that are still being closed or not offered, like our senior center is still closed, like the library is still to a great deal closed and doesn't have public hours and just have the personnel necessary to operate the library. The sports center, another one, the recreation center is in the recreation centers are others. So as we are looking into the numbers, we can foresee that we will have challenges to restore those services to their former glory, so to speak, if we don't have corresponding revenues. So we are bringing forward a suggestion to the council to increase the TOT. So that will be an interesting discussion. The council will not make a decision next week, Tuesday. As we always do it in the city of Monterey, we present the data points, we present the pro and con of the arguments, and of course then we also solicit feedback from you, the residents, and also from the businesses, as well as you can expect that the hospitality industry, as they are the ones that will probably carry that tax measure through their rate structures. So this will happen also on Tuesday, and at that time, I think we can expect a pretty lively discussion about that. Should the council direct us, the staff, to continue down the path of a possible TOT measure, we will bring this back to the council sometime in July, and then it will be hopefully, if the council decides it, put in a timely fashion onto the ballot. And in November, then during the November election, the TOT measure will be in front of the voters, and it will require 50% plus one vote to be approved. The The discussion about the TOT will probably take most of the evening session, but we will also have an item on there that we will basically ratify the ordinances necessary with respect to the um, uh, ordinances, the emergency ordinances that are described at the beginning of our meeting today. So the council will ratify the face covering ordinance, and the council will hopefully also ratify the closures of the beaches for July 4th and July 5th. The other part that I want to respond to is on the chat about budget. Yes, every single one of us are taking pay cuts. The city attorney as well as the city manager, we started taking a pay cut on May 1st. It is now 12% right now for us. There are also pay cuts by the executive managers, as well as on Tuesday, we will announce pay cuts of other employee groups that have offered pay cuts, and these are the firefighters, these are the police officers, etc. So you will see something about that as well, and hopefully you will see that part of the suggestions that are being made during the chat are being implemented or have already been implemented. What we will also tackle over the next few weeks, and the council has indicated that as well, are issues about social justice. You've seen that over the past 6 weeks or so, a lot of discussions in front of city councils have been also about policing, have been about social justice issues, and we will have those conversations also with the council and the public over the next weeks or so. And what this will involve is basically that we also will go to the council and provide the council with a suggested framework and how are we addressing social justice issues. They're very important for our community as well. And I think over the next months or so, our council, our community, our residents will have a very productive conversation about what changes we should make in the way we are engaging with each other here in the city on various levels. That is not just between us, the city of Monterey, and our community, but also how community among itself is interacting with each other. And I think that will be an interesting conversation to have. Last item I wanted to share with you is commercial fishing has been very strong. If you go out to the bay, you will see that a lot of folks, a lot of fishing boats are still here in the area. And that is a trend over the past 3.5 months. We have a very strong squid fishing going on. The harbor master shared with me yesterday that he sincerely believes that we are right now the most busy commercial fishing port in the state of California. And that's just by chance because the squid happen to be here in the area. So with that, I want to thank you again for tuning in today, for asking me a lot of questions. And I thank you also for your comments that we always appreciate. It's a communicative process that we're all engaging. That's our profession, and we have learned to listen to each other, and we have learned to ensure that whatever we are hearing from our community, that we need to be respectful and process that and react in a positive and constructive way. Our city council and our city staff are there to serve, and we're working at the pleasure of the taxpayers of the city of Monterey. And with that, I hope you all stay safe. These are challenging times again, and I think we will get through that over the next couple of weeks. And I talk to you again in 2 weeks. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for listening to me.